Hey everyone, it's Nima here, and it's the weekend, so it's time for the weekend show, as we're gonna go over just some of the big gaming news that happened this last week, maybe some of the other little incidences that happened, because there hasn't been a lot of actual gaming news. It's been, let's just say, a bit dull, honestly. But this really was to wrap things up about demos, delays, and Mario Day. But before we get into that stuff, I have a few other little things I wanted to talk about. First off, the whole Activision, Blizzard, Microsoft deal, which, for those of you who don't know, there's been this gigantic merger, well, not merger, but buyout that's been planned by Microsoft as they're trying to purchase Activision Blizzard. Now, if you ask me, I'm kind of a fan of this idea just because I have an Xbox, I have Game Pass, I'm a big fan of using Game Pass, and so the idea of actually being able to play Diablo through Game Pass would be pretty awesome. But that's not actually what people are focusing on. Actually, people are focusing on the Call of Duty aspect of it, as that too would go to Game Pass, and Sony has been the one who's been really just holding this whole deal back by protesting that it's basically turning into a monopoly, that it's going to kill their business, because most of their install base actually plays Call of Duty. And so Sony argues that if they wouldn't be able to sell Call of Duty, or I guess make money off Call of Duty, knowing that most gamers would end up just buying an Xbox Series S or X so they could play Call of Duty essentially for free on the Game Pass, that people would move away from Sony and they would eventually go bankrupt. That's been their whole issue. Now, me personally, like I said, I was kind of on Sony's side for a little while, but then I kind of decided, you know what, maybe it's time to stop riding the coattails of Call of Duty and come up with something new. Me personally, I've already moved on from Call of Duty. It's fun, I guess. I'm not gonna, bash anyone who likes it, but honestly, there's more opportunities out there, and you can't tell me that Sony is just Call of Duty. That's kind of ridiculous. When you have, Kratos and Aloy and these great characters that come from it, but you're just basically saying without Call of Duty your entire business is done? Well then, really, that sounds like a you problem, honestly. I digress. This whole contract has been something that Microsoft has been pushing for a long time now. And actually recently it's got to the point where they said that if they are allowed to purchase Activision Blizzard, that they would in fact bring the Call of Duty series to the Nintendo Switch. Now here's what's crazy about this whole thing, and this is why I brought up this whole thing, is that arrogantly, I'm gonna say, Microsoft basically said, oh yeah, we'd be able to bring over Call of Duty no problem. Now, a lot of people were excited about that and thought, well, what kind of version of Call of Duty would it be? Well, they said it would be the current Call of Duties on the Nintendo Switch, and not like the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever people are saying is gonna come out. No, they mean the current gen Switch with the brand new Call of Duty games like Warzone and all of that. They didn't say how it would actually run online or anything like that, but they said that it wouldn't be a problem, which I think is kind of crazy considering so many people are complaining about the capabilities of the Switch, and Microsoft just saying, oh yeah, we could throw in the new Modern Warfare 2, no problem. I don't know. I just love how they nonchalantly throw it out like, it's no big deal. In Switch news and the Switch 2 or whatever, there is a YouTube war going on between Switch Force and RGT85. They're debating the capabilities of this new Switch. Can it be backwards compatible? Will Nintendo just say screw it to their current user base and not make it compatible? Now, this is a small story and I'm not gonna go deep on it. As Switch Force has said, it's going to be backwards compatible. Nintendo doesn't want to lose all of the users that they have right now, and that would definitely be like a betrayal. That RGT85, on the other hand, has said no, but Nintendo would easily do this if they knew that they could resell all of their games and make more money. If you think about it, the biggest Switch selling game, that sounds weird, the biggest selling Switch game is Mario Kart 8. And that was a Wii U game. So obviously they can see the path of being able to make even more money by almost like re-releasing this again in the Switch 2 aspect. Now, I want to be clear on this. I think that they're both just making this crap up for views and clicks because honestly, we don't know. There hasn't even actually been a official release by Nintendo saying, hey, this is going to come out. This is all speculation and it's built upon all speculation. But if you ask me, I tend to side with Switch Force a little bit more, only because looking back at what the Nintendo Switch has done compared to what Nintendo has just basically done in the last decade or two, and let's be real, Nintendo was almost out of business, the Wii U. I think they probably learned their lesson and probably got really scared. That's just speculation, but I can tell you as someone who has owned their business, and when it does start to tank, you will do anything for that not to happen again, and you do remember this stuff, because it's also about pride, not just money, and I think that with the Switch, we've seen something where Nintendo is back in the spotlight again. And let's be real, it really hasn't been in that way since like the Super Nintendo. You could argue, well, the GameCube was awesome, the N64, and they're great, but they weren't big name consoles. Like, they were there. But when you thought about gaming, it was Xbox and Sony. Now it's beginning to be the Switch and become Nintendo again. Do they really want to lose that? I don't think so. But honestly, I don't know. Now, as I've been going on my little rant and a little story about the YouTube people, I've been showing video of the new courses from Mario Kart 8 that just dropped. I want to say technically they came out the 9th, but it was sort of a celebration of Mario Day. And I gotta be honest, these new courses are amazing. And it's funny because that very first DLC that came out, I'm still remembering it, wasn't great. Like, it was cool because it was new courses, but that was about it. As these courses keep coming out, they're getting better and better, and I don't know, this one is epic, honestly, but it's not just the courses themselves. We actually got a new participant. We got Birdo from Mario Brothers 2. That's also not all we got, though. If you look, now there's 5 question marks under Birdo where you can decide who you pick, and basically that means they're bringing 5 more characters to Mario Kart 8, which is awesome. I don't know who they're gonna be, and you can speculate and have fun with who that might be. Will it be like Samus, or will it be, I don't know, the Cloud guy? Well, of course, the Cloud guy can't do it because he's the one who pulls you back when you go off course. I don't know. But since this is all slated to end at the end of 2023, then we're going to find out very soon who all the new characters are, and I think that's awesome. I wish that Nintendo would do this with more of its games. I get not expanding on Breath of the Wild any more than they have, but something like Mario Odyssey could really have used some love. It's one of the best Mario games ever made, and they didn't add anything towards the end of it. I mean, there was just no DLC, no nothing. You could have added Bowser's Fury to it, and that would have been pretty cool, but instead they charged for it. Anyway, speaking of Mario Day, though, they did have a special big Mario Direct that people were excited for, and basically all it really was a trailer for the movie. Now, the movie looks awesome, and I'm super excited for it, but there was enough people who were very angry that there was nothing about the game, even though it specifically said this has nothing to do about any games. This is all about the Mario movie. People were still upset by it because of course they were. But the Mario movie does look cool, and I think it's going to be a fun time to take the kids to. I plan on doing it during the day to avoid the crowds. It'll be a lot of fun. But I think there was enough people who honestly felt like Nintendo was going to do something else. And I think that needs to stop. It's not even on Nintendo anymore. It's on all these people who are spreading rumors or just hoping that stuff happens. It's Mario Day. It's Zelda's 35th anniversary. It's this, it's that. Let's build it up for something to possibly happen. But the reality is they even say it themselves, possibly. So when it doesn't happen, don't be upset. Nintendo has these whole things planned out for, almost in years in advance, if not longer than that. See, one thing I thought was kind of interesting is we got this video showing the GameCube with its own screen, right? Now that's kind of cool, but when you found out that the screen was also 3D, this is like 01, 02 maybe? I think the video is from 03, but can you believe that? Then 10 years later, we have that same screen or that same technology on the 3DS, which is, that's how long some of this stuff is going on in the works. So if you think that they're just going to drop everything and somehow magically make something appear just because it's a certain date, I don't believe that's possible. Although, on the other side of things, I would like to say, you could, drop backgrounds or something. I don't know, something we've been waiting for that wouldn't be a big deal, It doesn't have to be a game, but maybe just some more customization on the Switch would be cool. I digress. We did, however, get a lot of games with demos this week, or at least some really big names that have demos. Now, there's about 2 to 3 people who care about the Bayonetta Origins getting its demo, and honestly, I feel like that's probably not fair. I know I just made a joke about it, but no one really does seem to care about this game, but it does actually look pretty cool. I think the issue is the price tag. Well, everything about it screams like indie game, but with a AAA price, and I think that that's an issue, because I do think that this game could actually really be fun, but it did get a beta demo so you can check it out. Now, there was already a demo, but it was inside of Bayonetta 3 if you knew how to find it. Those of you who didn't, well, now you got the demo. Now, the other one, the big one, is Resident Evil 4 Remake. It got its demo. Everyone kind of knew it was going to happen, but it's just great to actually see it now and understand all the details about it. As basically the demo is on all the consoles you want besides the Switch, and it will, in fact, be unlimited. And you can play it as many times as you want, which I think is awesome because you can then go back and kind of look for certain things. You don't have to worry about like surviving, so to speak. You can just, look for detailed things that maybe you're interested in or do some, investigating, so to speak. But it's called the Chainsaw Demo. It is out now on the Xbox Series, the PS5, and, I believe the PS4, but I don't know. I'd have to look into that. I've played it. It just makes me want to actually play the game. I've loved the remakes. They have been amazing. And this one is no different. The only thing I was really, kind of depressed or upset by with the whole remakes is I thought this would be a perfect time for them to revisit Code Veronica. And that just never happened. Code Veronica was great. I only got to play like a little bit of it because I had to rent a fucking Dreamcast from Blockbuster. And that thing was like $300. And my parents were not cool with that. By the time I actually got my own money, Code Veronica was incredibly expensive and hard to find, but I guess that's the way it works. Anyway, last thing we're going to talk about, delays, because of course, delays. Now, the one that I think maybe people don't care about is, and that's probably not nice to say, but is Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League. That one got pushed out of May. A lot of people are saying, well, they're pushing out of May because they didn't want to compete with the big games that were being released in May. Well, there's only one big game I can think of, and that would be Tears of the Kingdom. But that makes no sense at all because it's not even on the same console. Like, these two would not be in direct competition of each other. I think there's something else going on with it. Honestly, I think the Suicide Squad game is just dead. I mean, you think about how much it kind of is starting to remind everyone of the Avengers. It's always online. It seems to be one of those games that's a games as a service, and you're basically paying for multiple things. Maybe it's just all cosmetics or whatever, but I'm sure that that's not it. I'm sure they're going to be charging you for more things. Now, my thing with this whole idea is we've seen this with Avengers. We've now, I believe, seeing this with Suicide Squad, and I think they're going to pick and choose, and that's why I think they're going to be delaying this, because I've actually heard it's going to be closer to 2024, and I think they're going to be removing a lot of stuff. Now, it takes a lot of time and ruins the game even more. But honestly, if you are Marvel or anyone else who's trying to capitalize off of superheroes and basically getting a reoccurring income for every month, let me just bring up something to you. Bring back City of Heroes. Remaster City of Heroes. People will love to pay for it. That game was huge. You get an online service for that. It was fun. It's a great MMO. That's the only way you're going to do this right. People are not going to do this whole games as a service thing. It's crazy how many companies are trying to recreate Fortnite, essentially. And, the last thing we can think of that was like Fortnite was like Among Us, which was not Fortnite. You can't really do that. It's just not going to happen that way. And finally, the big game that was delayed was Starfield. Now, a lot of people were assuming it was going to come out in the first half of 2023, and that's not on them. That's on Microsoft. Microsoft had said that they were going to give it about a calendar year for it to come out. Well, it turns out that it actually did get a release date, and it is September 6th, so a little bit further away from that calendar year date. Although, no one's really upset about this. In fact, I think a lot of people are very understanding. With a game of this size, thousands of places to explore, and your own different creatures you can meet and all sorts of stuff that honestly we don't know that much about, but it is promising to be incredibly detailed and just massive, basically like Skyrim in outer space. Well, yeah, like it's gonna take time, and the clientele, so to speak, are pretty much accepting of that. I haven't heard many people actually complain about the fact that it's been delayed longer, and we kind of expected it. And honestly, with it being Bethesda, it's gonna have a bunch of glitches and issues anyway, but so if they could minimize that by holding it back for a little bit longer, I think that's a smart plan. But anyway, that's basically most of the news for the week. Let me know how you guys are enjoying these shows. If you're not enjoying them, then cool, because I probably won't do them anymore. They are actually a lot of work. I do enjoy it, though, just like I enjoy making all sorts of content. But again, yeah, just let me know. We'll keep going if people are liking it. Anyway, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.